This is the epitome of if you trip, you keep running, okay? This is how you win at life.
This is Sportscentre.
Hey, I'm Marissa Roberto, and the countdown continues as we're just 9 days away from the Ravens and Chiefs opening up the NFL season. And yesterday we got the huge news of the CeeDee Lamb contract, as he is now the second highest paid receiver in the NFL. And that's been a common theme this offseason. Wide receivers getting paid massive money. I mean, just look at some of these contracts. And as Adam Schefter mentions in this tweet, two big name receivers are still waiting for a deal: Jamar Chase and Brandon Ayuk. And realistically, that Chase number is probably going to put him in the top 3. But today we asked the question, can you win a Super Bowl with a receiver making that kind of money? Well, history tells us the answer is no. Looking at the last 10 Super Bowl champions, only one Super Bowl winner had their leading wide receiver as one of the top 10 highest paid receivers in the NFL, and that was the 2015 Broncos, and Demaryius Thomas, who was the third highest paid receiver in the NFL that year. But let's put that into more context. Thomas was making $14 million a year, which was 9.7% of the cap. But looking at this year and the outrageous wide receiver numbers, A.J. Brown is the third highest paid receiver in football, making $32 million a year, which counts for 12.5% of the cap, a significant increase on the Thomas number. But let's look at the last 5 years, because we see some significant studs at receiver winning the Super Bowl. Now, there is one caveat when it comes to the Chiefs. When they won the Super Bowl in 2020, Sammy Watkins was making big money, but not really producing. And it wasn't taking up the level of salary cap percentage that we're seeing being eaten up by the top receivers this year. But the Chiefs should be looked at as an example as to why you shouldn't pay receivers, as they made the controversial decision to let Tyreek Hill go, put that money elsewhere like their defense, and then won back-to-back Super Bowls. What's more impressive is last year doing it with Rashee Rice as their leading wide receiver, as their rookie was making less than $1 million that season. But that was with Patrick Mahomes, who arguably could retire as the best to ever play. The 2024-25 NHL season is fast approaching, and with it come the quirks of a new hockey season. This year's Stanley Cup champs have revealed their new center ice logo, and it is big. Okay, I mean, I don't think we've ever seen a logo almost hit the blue line. All right, they're proud. They're very proud. The entire circle is filled with red for the first time in franchise history, and the rays around the shield are meant to look like the inside of Lord Stanley's mug. Although we're kind of wishing that they featured a mini Stanley Cup on the red line, the way they did it at their practice facility. Anyway, might we actually be seeing a bit of a tradition here? Because Vegas is something similar to celebrate their Stanley Cup win. They also had an Inside the Cup inspired logo right after they won it all. And huge center ice logos are just becoming a thing around the league. We saw the Sens unveil a massive logo this week. Can we talk to the players about this? Because look at how deep the black is in the Sens logo. What if they just lose the puck for a second on it? You know? Does anybody think about this? And the Canucks also debuted one. I feel like the logos around it are also a lot bigger. Dang. I don't know. I'm not really into the deep, dark colors there. I feel like we need to discuss this with the players. Maybe we will see more huge center ice logos swooping across the league this year. The US Open is underway at Flushing Meadows, with a large Canadian contingent making the trip. No Canadian has had more success in New York than Mississauga, Ontario native and friend of the show, Bianca Andreescu, who was just on with us last week and has won Canada's only singles Grand Slam title there 5 years ago. She kicks off the night session at Louis Armstrong Stadium tonight on TSN. Now joined by our tennis reporter, Mark Masters. Mark, thanks for joining us.
Marissa, I'm ready to do some verbal volleying.
You could not look more ready, honestly. Bianca kicks off her US Open against 5 seed Jasmine Paolini. These two have some history. What should we expect from Bianca in this match?
Well, I'm expecting a big step up in form from what we saw in Toronto and Cincinnati, where Andreescu lost her first round matches. This is a primetime showdown against the player who's knocked her out in the last 2 Grand Slams. I just spoke to Andreescu's coach, JT Nishimura, and he says she loves to get revenge. Well, tonight she's got a chance to do just that. I expect the fans to be on her side, and I expect her to harness that energy. What has to change tactically? Well, I asked her former coach, Sylvain Bruneau, that question. Bruneau, of course, guided Andreescu to the 2019 title, and he says she's got to be a bit more steady from the back, extend the rallies, let her creativity and variety come into play more. And Bruno also pointed out the pressure very much on Paolini in this match. The Italian is the one who has reached the final at the last 2 Grand Slams. She's the one who's the number 5 seed who is expected to go deep in New York, where Paolini does not have a track record of success. Only one previous win in the US Open. Now, it's on Andreescu to apply that pressure, but Marissa, I think she will. Get the popcorn ready. I say this one lives up to the hype.
After a tough stretch of injuries, Bianca has fallen out of the top 150 in the WTA rankings. What does a successful US Open look like for her results-wise?
Well, I think it's important not to get fixated on results when it comes to Andreescu right now. Remember, this is only her 8th event since returning from the stress fracture in her back in May at Roland Garros. It's going to take time for her to build herself back up. And she was very open in that Players Tribune piece that was published last week, talking about what went wrong after her U.S. Open title and how she was tying her mental well-being to her results on court. She is not doing that anymore. And so, Marissa, I think there is a scenario where she plays well tonight, gives Paolini all she can handle and loses, and can still walk away from this U.S. Open feeling like it's a success in a way.
Mark Masters, a pleasure as always. Thank you for joining us. And you can watch Bianca kick off her U.S. Open tonight on TSN. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. And sticking with tennis, Canadian Felix Auger-Aliassime was eliminated just moments ago as he was upset by Jakub Mensik in straight sets 6-2, 6-4, 6-2. Time now for my favorite segment and yours, that we love sports today.
Why we love sports today.
The Stanley Cup is the greatest trophy in sports, but it's big. Almost too big, you know? Which makes celebrating with it a little cumbersome. And that is not the case with the PWHL's Walter Cup, as you'll see here from Taylor Heisey, who took it for a spin around the state fair.
It's like already melting, you guys. Oh, thank you.
You gotta have a little slush puppy out of the trophy. That's what you gotta do at a state fair. Although they should have had her ride around in like a, I don't know, one of those tractors with hay on the back. It would have felt more, I don't know, would that not have felt more Minnesota? or is that just me? I don't know. And he finished with this unreal throwback look. Swedish team Hammarby was wearing these vintage kits, and goalie Warner Hahn took it to the next level, wearing this newsboy style cap. That's it for me today. We'll see you right back here tomorrow at 3 Eastern, no Pacific. Have a good one.